In today's video, we are going to be breaking down Obi Toppin's basketball shooting form. Obi Toppin is one of the top players in this year's NBA draft, and there are a lot of things that we can learn from Obi Toppin. Let's get down and let's check this out. Okay, so in this first clip, we have Obi Toppin doing a quick step back, and from there, what are we looking at for his shot? Now, no matter what angle, as well as no matter what move that he does, he has a very good shooting form and a very similar shooting form to each other. It doesn't matter if it's a setup shot, a step-in shot, or a step back. What we have is his knees are over his toes in line with his shoulders. This is very good. From there, we also have him looking at the rim, and that's something that you really want to do when you are collecting your shot. Next, we want to look at his feet. When he does that step back, he lands on his toes. That's going to really push a lot of power from his toes up into his shot. This is very important. You never want to shoot when you're down on your heels. This is going to give you a lot more power and a faster shot. Next, he gathers the ball right in front of his hips, a bit farther out than some players. However, he is a very tall player himself, so that is totally normal and acceptable. From there, what we are looking at is he does get kind of low, but he could get a little bit lower on his shot, but that would also decrease the amount of speed that he would need, especially when it comes to a player who is defending him trying to block his shot. So, even though he could get lower on his shot, this is still very good and very acceptable. When he lifts the ball up to his set point, from his catch up to his set point, we can notice that his elbow does not bend. Some players will bend their elbow and have the ball go up their body instead of bringing it up from the left side. Other players will bring it up like a half arch, which is totally fine as well. You don't want to have too much movement when it comes to your shot, because that's just one more hitch in your shot that could go wrong if you're trying to speed something up. So this is good. There's no hinge on his elbow, but there is a hinge when it comes to his shoulder, which is what we are looking for. His set point seems to be right over top of both of his eyes in the middle of his forehead. His elbow is a bit out, which then would push that ball out towards the right side. We can also notice that both of his knees are slightly turned towards the left side, however, roughly the same distance away from the rim as each other. We also notice that his hips are the same distance, both left and right hip are the same distance from the rim roughly, and same with his shoulders. This is going to give him a straight shot until it gets up to his set point, which with his elbow being out to the right of the basketball, what that's going to do is now push that ball out towards the left side. Now, Obi Toppin is a very good shooter. His career three-point shooting percentage in the NCAA is 41.7%. However, keeping in mind that in his first year in the NCAA, he was a 52% three-point shooter and dropped to a 39% three-point shooter in his final year. However, that final year was cut short mainly because of COVID. When it comes to his release, he does keep a follow-through as well, which is very good, and he does, in most cases, kick his right leg out. Now, for most players, that could be in a form of trying to stabilize his body. We see this with Kobe Bryant when he's trying to do turnaround jumpers. So, usually not from a spot-up shot, but he was taking a step back just before, so we will let that fly, but it does happen quite often when it comes to him shooting. And we can see this again right here, where he gets the pass, and it's a spot-up jumper, and he still does kick that right leg out, but he does make a ton of threes, especially when being a forward. The size and strength that he has, he is going to be one deadly player in the NBA. Now, the one thing that we can see from this clip is when he has that elbow out from the ball, usually that would push that ball out towards that left side. However, when we see close-up shots, or when we watch him in person, not necessarily from blurry footage like this, what we do see is that his left hand does have a palm that faces out towards the rim after his shot. So he does shoot with a thumb flick like Steph Curry, as well as Kyrie Irving. I'm not too sure if this is going to translate into the NBA like it has for those two players, but that would even out the fact that his arm does not line up with the ball. And what I should say by arm is his elbow does not line up with the ball. However, with that thumb flick, it does even out the pressures on that shot, which then doesn't allow it to be forced out towards the left side. It allows it to be a nice straight shot. Something else that we do see with Obi Toppin's shot is when he catches that ball and when he does take that shot, he does have his elbow above his eyes and above his forehead, which is going to allow him to have a nice arc on the shot. And we do see that with this ball. This ball actually has quite a bit of arc on it. And what that does for the ball is we have to picture the ball when it's dropping in towards the rim. That rim looks a lot bigger than if he was to shoot with an arm that is not giving it arc, not having the elbow above the eyes. And in that case, what would happen is it would travel in this motion and the rim would then look a lot bigger. But he shoots with a very high arc, and because of that, the rim looks a lot bigger to the ball, which allows that ball to drop in. I hope that this video helps you become a better basketball shooter, but also helps you understand Obi Toppin, especially since he's going into the NBA and is one of the top draft picks this year. Anyways, I'll see you guys again in my next video.